You won't believe how oil gets around sanctions, the shadow fleet explained. Picture this, massive oil tankers sailing across the oceans, but they don't show up on radar. They switch names, change flags mid-voyage, or turn off their tracking systems completely. And yet, they still deliver millions of barrels of oil every month, even when the world says they can't. What if I told you there's a massive underground system making this possible? Not pirates, not secret bases, but something called the shadow fleet. Today we're uncovering how unregistered and ghost tankers are quietly keeping sanctioned countries like Russia, Iran, and Venezuela in the global oil trade, often without being spotted. If you think sanctions are airtight, stick around, you're about to find out they're not. Let's start with the obvious question, what is the shadow fleet? At its core, the shadow fleet is a massive network of oil tankers and cargo ships that operate outside normal maritime transparency. These ships often turn off or manipulate tracking systems so authorities can't see where they're going or what they're carrying. Now you might be wondering, why does this even exist? After the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the West slapped strict sanctions on Russian energy exports to cut off funding for its war effort. But Russia still needs money, and oil is its biggest product. So instead of stopping exports, they built a system that lets them keep selling oil anyway, just under the radar. For example, Russia's shadow fleet alone makes up nearly 17 to 18% of the world's oil tanker capacity. Estimates suggest around 1,100 to 1,400 shadow vessels are active, including many oil tankers. Many of these vessels are old, uninsured, and lack proper oversight, which makes them flexible but also dangerous. Dhaka Tribune. This isn't a small gray market. It's almost a parallel shipping world coexisting with the legal one. So how do these ships actually hide from regulators? The biggest tricks are surprisingly simple. Turning off their AIS tracking, the automatic identification system is like GPS for ships. Switch it off, and you become invisible. Flag hopping, ships frequently change which country they're registered under, making it harder to trace who owns them. Ship-to-ship transfers, tankers meet in remote seas and swap cargoes, so no single vessel ever looks suspicious. It's like laundering cash, but for oil. And the buyers? Often China and India, countries willing to take discounted oil if you can deliver it quietly. But it's not just Russia. Countries like Iran and Venezuela use similar fleets too. Iran has developed its own ghost armada to export oil despite US sanctions, especially after sanctions were reimposed in 2018. These vessels often operate under flags of convenience, registered in countries with lax rules, and rely on fake documentation to enter ports. Venezuela, too, has used shadow fleet tankers to keep crude flowing to buyers despite heavy sanctions, especially in Latin America and Asia. This system isn't without consequences. Because these vessels often ignore safety, insurance, and environmental rules. They pose major environmental risks. Aging tankers without proper coverage can cause massive spills. And they can cause geopolitical tensions, like recent US seizures of suspected shadow fleet tankers off Venezuela. In fact, in the past few weeks alone, the US has intercepted multiple tankers suspected of evading sanctions, raising the stakes for global energy politics. Even Ukraine has struck shadow fleet tankers with drones, trying to stop oil that funds war efforts. And the European Union and other nations are actively sanctioning specific vessels and companies tied to these networks. So what does all of this mean? It means that global sanctions aren't airtight. Powerful states can still find ways to export oil, keep cash flowing, and challenge enforcement efforts, by exploiting gaps in international maritime law and tracking systems. It also shows that global trade is more complex than it looks. Oil doesn't just flow through pipelines and big shipping companies, there's a whole hidden layer beneath the surface. And as long as demand for energy exists, there will be people and companies willing to bend the rules to profit from it. Somewhere out there right now, a ship with no name is carrying oil to a country that isn't supposed to have it. And tomorrow, it'll do it again. Thanks for watching.